When Tim Drake took up the mantle of Robin, there really wasn't a whole lot of other superheroes around his age for him to team up with. DC fixed that though by introducing a few different teenage superheroes here and there. One of the more important ones that was introduced, or at least in my humble opinion who was more important, was Superboy, Connor Kent, also known as Con-El. Let's talk about the first team up they ever had, which happens to be called WF3, World's Finest 3.
I'm in love with a hero. I'm in love with the one who will...
Hello comic book fans of the world! This comic book series only consists of 2 different issues. It was written by Chuck Dixon, who happens to be one of my more favorite writers out there, especially for Robin. It's also illustrated by Tom Grummett. The story came out back in 1996, and Superboy's origin was going to be altered after this story, but up to this point, he still had the ability to have tactile kinesis. He wasn't known to be half Kryptonian yet, that would be retconned later on. At this point, he's still a horny teenager, and he lives in Hawaii. The first issue takes place in Gotham, with Metallo coming in and causing some problems. Robin at first tries to recruit Superman. Unfortunately, Superman is unavailable. So Alfred comes up with the idea to team up with Superboy instead, which Superboy does come in and he teams up with Robin and they're able to take out Metallo fairly easily. Unfortunately, Poison Ivy also gets involved in this. Being that Poison Ivy does have this control over guys, when she kisses them, she does this with Superboy. And then bam bada bing, Superboy is briefly turned to the dark side. Luckily though, back in the Batcave, Batman has a kryptonite ring that was given to him by Superman in case Superman ever went rogue. And then we go into the second issue. The second issue takes place mostly in Hawaii. Superboy still being under the control of Poison Ivy, we get an interesting confrontation between him and Robin. Robin tries to trust Superboy as he says that he's no longer under her control. Unfortunately though, that's just a trick. So Robin pulls out the kryptonite ring, and this is the first time readers are aware that Superboy is affected by the kryptonite ring. Metallo later comes back into the fray of everything. At this point though, Superboy is free from Poison Ivy's influence. Superboy and Robin team up once again, and they both save each other's lives, and this is the first time we get to see their budding bromance. This story wasn't the most epic of all stories to be told, but still I thought it was really memorable just to see these 2 guys together. I somewhat like to think about this as being a prologue into the Young Justice miniseries, and then later on into the ongoing series. There's a lot of wins in this story. I mean, I like that Robin is very similar to Batman in his stealth abilities. He does the whole disappearing thing on Superboy, and Superboy's left all dumbstruck as to where he went. We got to see Robin's car, the Redbird, which I really love that car. There's also some really dark moments in this. Poison Ivy is no joke. She has some paramedics kill each other, and I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but at the beginning of the second issue, she kills a dog. I feel like that's really sad. Tom Grummett's artwork is beautiful. The colors was done by Scott Bowman, which I know for today a lot of people don't really like vibrant colors, but back then that was a big thing. I personally love vibrant colors, and I think it was great then, and I think it's great now. Anyone out there who's a fan of Tim Drake Robin and Connor Kent Superboy and how they became such good buddies, this is an essential read. Even though this came out over 20 years ago, it's not really that difficult to find. It came out in the 90s when everything was overproduced. You can pretty much find it on Amazon or individual comic book websites. I'll leave it at that. Like I said, this is an enjoyable story, and it's not exactly epic, but still it is very entertaining. Thank you guys for watching me in this video, and I will join you guys in another video very soon. Be sure to check out my Patreon site, check out my social media sites, my websites, and everything else out there. Peace, love, namaste, and I'll see you guys later.
Always win. He's a prominent figure.
Back when I was a kid and I first read this storyline, I always thought there should be an ongoing series of Robin and Superboy teaming up. Turns out that I was right, and DC decided to do that comic book series, but unfortunately they decided to do it with the next Robin and Superboy, which happens to be Damian Wayne and Jonathan Kent.